Hello and welcome to Iridium Rock and Metal fans. Good morning. I'm going to do today. We're going to catch up again with the years. So we're looking at ranking the albums. We're up to 2012, and to tell you the truth, I was a bit shocked at how good this year actually was. Some brilliant releases, and I wanted to include quite a few, which I've done. I've included 10. There's a couple of left out which I didn't want to leave out either, but we can't keep talking forever. So we're going to go the usual. It goes from 10 to 1. Sorry, weird cat. We're going to go from 10 to 1, 10 being my least favourite of the best albums, if you like, and into number 1. So, without further ado, number 10, a return from David Lee Roth to Van Halen, a different kind of truth. It's amazing now to think this was 8 years ago, but I loved it when I heard that he was coming back, and I don't think it disappointed at all. Listen, it wasn't up there with the debut album, Van Halen 2, Women and Children First, not 1984, but I think it was a really good effort from the band, and it did sound more like their older stuff, and there were some bits on this album that were, forgotten about, some songs written way back when, and you can hear that as well. Obviously, look, on this record, Davey Roth, I think his voice sounds really good. He was in the studio, and his live performances around that time weren't very good, but for a record and what it was, I really like this. Some of my favourite tracks. I actually like the lead single "Tattoo," even though it wasn't liked that well from the fans. But "She's the Woman," "Stay Frosty," some great tracks on here. So I'll give Van Halen a different kind of truth. 7 out of 10. Right, my number 9, Primal Fear, Unbreakable. So for me, this was a little bit of a drop in form for them, but because they're such a really excellent band, it's still a really good album. Um, on this album, like as always, Primal Fear are at their best when it comes to those epic-y, sort of slower type songs. Born Again, Where Eagles Die was a brilliant track. And even like the single Bad Guys Wear Black is quite a fun song, but pretty cool. And I'll give Primal Fear Unbreakable 7 out of 10. Next up, number 8, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Last of a Dying Breed. So I didn't think this was quite as good as God and Guns, but it was still a really strong album. This has patriotism all over this, all over this album. There's nothing wrong with that. I actually love the sound of this album, but like I said, not quite as good as God and Guns, but still a great, strong album. And I want them to release some more stuff. I don't know if they're going to. The title track was brilliant, opening this up. Homegrown was a fun song. Ready to Fly, Something to Live For. Some really good, strong Skynyrd tracks here that, you know, these two albums, this one and the one before, they were the strongest of the new generation Skynyrd, if you like, in my opinion. And I'll give that 8 out of 10. My number 7, Jawn, Bring Heavy Rock to the Land. So yeah, this is a really good release. I think that Jawn really hit a peak on Spirit Black, which was the one before this. But this sort of carried on that sound, but wasn't quite as good in the songwriting department for me. Voice is spot on as always, but some of my favourite tracks on here. The title track is great. 1,000 Cuts, The World I See. Jawn, his voice just doesn't falter. But just for me, the songwriting on this wasn't quite up there with what had come before, and I'll give it 8 out of 10. Still a good score. My number 6, breaking the rules a little bit here. We go for an EP. It's the Down 4 Part 1, the Purple EP. So Down have released 2 EPs so far, and I think there's meant to be another one coming. I'm not sure when. But the reason I included this is 33 minutes long, this EP. So, there's some bands that have albums out that are 30 minutes long. So I thought it'd be such a shame because it's such a great release to leave off. I thought this was much better than the album before it. and I think they're back to their best on this. Real doomy stuff, real Sabbathy sort of sounds on this. Carrying on their southern sound as well. Phil Anselmo, you know, his voice. I love the way it fits in with this band. Levitation's a great track on this. Witch Tripper, brilliant song. Open Coffins for a real slower Sabbathy type song. Misfortune Teller, great EP, and I'll give this 9 out of 10. My number 5, Accept and Stalingrad. So this is actually my favourite album from the band's newer material with the new singer. Love this album. Hung, Drawn and Quartered. What an opener for an album. I'm not really into faster tracks that much, but this is a great track. Stalingrad is one of my favourite tracks from Accept, period. Hellfire, Shadow Soldiers, real epic, slow galloping track. If you've got to give Accept a chance. If you haven't, because of this, the new singer, they are spot on. Sorry about the cat, by the way. I'll give this 9 out of 10. Right, my number 4, Swedish band, Heat and Address the Nation. So this was the first album that had Eric Gromwell in, the new singer. I think he actually won some Swedish blimmin' talent competition on TV, or he was in the run-up, he was in the finals anyway. And he sang metal songs all the way through that, a bit of Skid Row, stuff like that, and that's where they obviously saw his talent, and he doesn't disappoint on this. For me, he's a better singer than the original singer, and he really brings some life and energy into this band. He really does, and this was a great album. Breaking the Silence, kicking it off, Living on the Run. This would have been huge in the 80s, that song. Better Off Alone, full up with real catchy hit stuff, absolutely brilliant album, 10 out of 10. Alright, number 3, Tremonti, All I Was. So obviously Mark Tremonti, Alter Bridge guitarist, songwriter, fantastic talent, did an album on his own. A lot of his influences from the past are thrash, some real heavy stuff, and this has got thrashing, crushing riffs all through the album. But he does slow it down as well for those Alter Bridge, fans as well. There's some slower stuff in here, some real good stuff that can fit on Alter Bridge albums as well. And he's got a pretty good voice and all. I do prefer Miles Kennedy's voice. Some people say that Tremonti should be the singer for Alter Bridge. I think that's bullshit. I think they're excellent as they are, but what you do get is Tremonti showcasing what an absolute amazing talent he is, and this is my favourite album from Tremonti. There's been a few now, about 4 I think. My favourites on this, Leave It Alone. I think this is where he's outstanding, where it's slowed down but it's still heavy. So You're Afraid, The Things I've Seen, slow song, Doesn't Matter, full up with great tracks, but really heavy. If you haven't tried Tremonti, because you think I don't know, of Creed and Alter Bridge, it's a lot different, it's a lot heavier. Brilliant album, 10 out of 10. My number 2, Eclipse and Bleed and Scream. What an album. Check out my reaction or my review of After the End of the World I did the other day. This is a quality, heavy, really heavy but melodic metal album, if you like. I love this band. They're one of my favourite modern type bands at the moment. I think they're the best of those bands. You got Crazy Licks, Crash Diet. You got Heat as well. Heat and Eclipse are right up there as the top bands in that sort of genre at the moment. And Bleed and Scream has got Wake Me Up, the opening track, brilliant track. Title tracks is spot on. You've got a bit of Taste, a slow song that turns into a really heavy song, like a ballad that turns into a heavy song, proper epic, that one. Battlegrounds is an excellent song. I think if you actually listen to this, I was reading about this, it's got some similar similarities to Gary Moore's Over the Hills and Far Away. Definitely, you've got to, you know, you might not see it at first, but definitely agree with that. Perhaps he was a Gary Moore fan, probably is. And the one that I reviewed the other day, After the End of the World, is on this as well. What a song to close the album out. 10 out of 10 without a doubt. And my number one. So, although it's not on the genres of music I've been talking about, it is on the Skynyrd genres, and that's Blackberry Smoke, The Whippoorwill. This is my favourite album, Blackberry Smoke, and worn the t-shirt as well, just to, you know, ram it home a bit. But this is pure southern rock at its best. Every single song on this is right up there with my favourite songs of Blackberry Smoke. This is full up, absolutely full up. Six Ways to Sunday kicking it off, real boogie sort of sound to that. Pretty Little Lion, One Horse Town, really going on the southern side there, slowing it down. And, you know, you can understand why a lot of people in the heavier stuff won't like this stuff, but I think they just do it right. And then Ain't Much Left of Me, The Whippoorwill, the title track, is a sort of a real classic, sort of like, you know, to their roots stuff. Up the Road, closing the album off. Perfect album, absolutely perfect. If you like Skynyrd, like I said before, if you love Skynyrd, they do it like old Skynyrd, not joking. You know, that's what they sound like. They sound like the 70s Skynyrd, without a doubt. 10 out of 10, easy. Couple of honourable mentions. Testament, Dark Roots of Earth. I love the last, I think it's 3 or 4 Testament albums. This is the first one I started to love. I didn't like the Old Testament. I think the production they've got now on their albums makes it one of the heaviest bands out there at the moment, but never heavy and is extreme. It's not it's always listenable. Excellent vocals on this. You can hear every word he's saying. It's not screaming, it's not shouting. Really heavy though, up to the max. Dokken had Broken Bones out, pretty good album. Not quite up there with the old stuff, you know, for me, the 80s stuff, but still good. And also Deftones, Koi no Yakin. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that properly. Probably not. Probably getting slaughtered right now. But a return to form for Deftones as well. But not quite making my. I think it was so. The album release was just so good. It was hard to fit those 3 in, but definitely worth an honourable mention. And any other year they probably would have been in the best album. So that's it for 2012. A great year. Please, if I've missed anything off, let me know. Put it in the comments below. Perhaps I haven't heard a band and you can give me a reaction to do. Please subscribe. Red button, bottom of the screen. I'll see you next time.